That's a fact too. If he would have just took his loss and said, "Yo, Dot beat me, but we gonna get back to the hits and we gonna see who win on the charts," it would have been just that. People would have probably just been cool with it. All right, man. Torture Talk After Hours. You know what it is. All right, so look. Yo EQ TV. Shout out to him. Make sure you go subscribe to his channel. Yeah, so I'm reacting to a video that he posted with Elliott Wilson speaking on the Drake being number 2, and he has to just accept that he's number 2 because it's the K Dot era, and I think that he makes some good points here, and I'm surprised because of Elliott Wilson. But so let's get to it, man. Let's go.
Classic artist thing where it's like,
you know what I'm saying?
Like don't give me a warning shot. My next chapter, nigga. You just gave us a chapter.
You didn't like the jam.
What is that? You just gave you dropped the record 3 weeks ago. What was the next chapter? You gave us a chapter. You gave us 21 songs, and none of them are outperforming any of Kendrick's records.
Exactly. Like I said, the one thing he's had on every other rapper has always been numbers. That's obviously not the case right now. And it's not like the quality of music has changed. It's the very same quality. It's almost exactly the very same quality. But to think that the beef and how he acted after the beef wouldn't have any effect on his career is obviously only something an insane person would think, or an OVO stan right now.
That's 100% facts. I think at this point in Drake's career, he has to just accept that he's number 2. And some would say that he's really not even number 2 no more. I personally believe that he's staying afloat because of his old stuff. Now, if you want to say technically he's still number 2, but if you look at it, there's other artists that's outperforming him now. There's other artists that are on the top that are higher than him on the charts. So can we really say that he's number 2? And I think a lot of us need to really think about that. I think all of his old music is being pushed, but we can't really say that he's number 2 if he's only moving off of his old stuff. It's like, okay, but it makes sense. But what Elliott Wilson is saying here, I mean, like, you calculated wrong, dog. And this is the reason why you where you at today.
The song that people talk about is You By Yourself.
Both are in the same
Where's
right now
Party?
category.
Nokia. Like, I don't understand the strategy anymore. Let's say he would have just dropped Nokia, right?
Here we go.
Here's one. Let's say he would have just dropped. Imagine this world.
Yeah.
I'm Drake. I got low for a couple months. I let the Super Bowl go by.
This guy is such a flip-flopper, though, man. This guy has pretty much turned into the person he was complaining about like 2 years ago when he was saying that the people that perform like this is not media, just to go and do the very same thing. But like how a lot of people say, if you can't beat them, join them.
I let the Grammys go by, blah, blah. Then I pop up, and here's my first single. It's called Nokia. TikTok goes crazy. Oh, the boys back. Oh, the fuckers battle. Da, 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 da. And my solo album's coming in a month or 2 months. Wouldn't there be a whole different perspective, a perception of him, and everything would look different than it does now?
That's a fact. But the thing is, Drake, I understand what he's saying, and technically that might have had happened. Let's say that had happened. But see, the allure is gone. That's the problem. And your fan base has grown up. So even if you coming out with a song like Nokia, even let's say he did that, let's say he dropped Nokia when he dropped it. Let's say he dropped it when he dropped it. To me, it still would have did the same thing. It wouldn't have made no shift because Kendrick's presence is too dominant right now. If he had dropped Nokia a year from now, it still wouldn't have did nothing because people would be tired of that sound. So you got to understand, Drake's sound it's not trending no more. Nobody's really caring for it no more. The sound has changed. And Nokia, it's an okay record. I mean, to be honest with you, it's an okay record, but it's not a good record to me. It's an okay record. But in this climate right now, okay isn't good enough. So even if he did drop Nokia and it did something, for the most part, a lot of people are not about microwave music no more. I think that's what it is. But I'll explain some more later on. Let's go.
So now you've underperformed with this party record like I told you was going to do. And now you want to sell us on the dream of a solo record that's going to crush everything again. Like,
Yeah, man, that collaborative album with Party Next Door was Drake's third lowest first week numbers ever. Very, very telling. I mean, for it to get beat out in its second week by GNX, a project that has been out for 16 weeks, is all we need to see to realize what the public is gravitating towards. That Nokia record, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, would have went up. That's obviously not the case. While it is obviously a successful record, relatively speaking, for Drake, it's not hitting the metrics that he's been used to his whole career. Because they're obviously putting money into this record, they're putting marketing into this record, and it's still sitting at number 10, which is his highest positioning on the Billboard Hot 200.
That's my point right there. What he just said. It's just not resonating with people no more because people have grown past his music. He's a lot of these old heads, they want to hold on to Drake's music. Because for some reason they think that he's still that guy. He's not that guy no more, man. I mean, I wish y'all understand this. He hasn't been that guy for years. I think that y'all are so obsessed with him being so successful that y'all believe
12
that.
p.m.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all believe that he's that guy, but he's really not. His success to me is basically he's living off of his previous work, and this is the reason why he's where he's at today.
come on, dog. Where's it? As Head said earlier, it's like I thought he was such a brilliant strategist, just like a fellow brilliant strategist, Kendrick. But what's your thing you always say, Head? He's like he's not intelligent. He's just cunning in a sense, right?
Witty.
Cunning and witty. He's more cunning and witty.
And cunning would obviously be a great quality to have as a strategist. But at this point, a lot of people would probably categorize some of those moves as like backdooring somebody or being backstabby, which is probably why a lot of people really haven't come to his defense at all, whether it's executives at these big conglomerates or his fellow colleagues, the artists he's worked with over the last 15 years. The only people that have truly, really come to his defense are people that desperately need him to get hot so they can get hot.
That's a fact. And what do you mean by cunning and witty? Basically, let's not minimize this by saying that, or not even minimize. Let's just not put him in a position where he's the Joker, because the Joker, although he's cunning and witty, he's also a strategist in a way. You know what I'm saying? He has to be a strategist to trap Batman, obviously. You know what I'm saying? But I think that he's more like, if we had to go with comic book characters, Drake would be more like Bookworm. If you look up Bookworm, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But he'll be more like him. You know what I'm saying? And I think that what they're saying here is actually pretty on point. You know what I'm saying? What he's saying, like, he is cunning and witty, but at the same time, he's not a good strategist, and whoever he got around him, they don't really know what they're doing. They just think that he's hot, no matter what he does, it's gonna go. And they look for a certain sound that they think is gonna go. They're actually not creating something that could potentially go. They don't want to put themselves in a position where they have to work to create something that might fail. That's the chance you take when you're a creator. Things might fail, but that's the problem with Drake and his team. They don't want to do that because they're afraid of failing, because they've been winning so long that, on top of that, they probably just think that whatever they do is going to win.
Cunning and what?
Witty.
What's it? Witty. He's more cunning and witty than strategic. You know, and the way he moves, like, I don't get it anymore. It's like he's just frustrated because he likes being the number one guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to sell the world that he's the number one guy.
When
I
you're
don't care
number
how many
10.
girls you have, that's your homegirls in the yacht doing those lyrics and shooting these little TikToks. You're not number one, dog. It's the die era. You're number two. You're a silver medalist. You're number one right now.
which is still a great position to have, but obviously for Drake, it's something that he can't come to terms with. He's always been number one, but it's like how Mike Tyson stated, everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face. It's a lot easier to win when you're the front runner and you're beating people by 30. But as soon as you face adversity, that's truly what defines your legacy, you know? And Drake obviously seems to not do well with adversity.
And you're mad. And you can't hide it. So that same position, like Head saying earlier, too,
Emotional.
like, of you just being mad and everybody else just doesn't get it. It's like, no, we get it. We like you still, but we don't like how you're moving. And he still isn't moving right. So I don't get it.
That's 100% facts. And for me, I stopped liking. I ain't gonna say I stopped liking Drake. I'm gonna say I haven't really thought that Drake was pretty good for years. I think he hasn't been good for a long time. And I think now all of that work that he put in that was mid to whatever is all coming back to bite him, because he's not as good as people thought he was. I think a lot of people was just on a high of his music because he was winning so much that people felt like, oh yeah, he's that guy. Trust me, Drake's that guy. Like, but then now when you go back and listen to a lot of his stuff, you realize that he's just been repackaging the same material since Views. I mean, he has some stuff stand out here and there, but too much filler. A lot of filler. You know what I'm saying? A lot of filler.
It's like,
bro, go make your song.
He made songs at party. He made 21 songs, and none of them in the top 50. Not one song. Not one song they made together is in the top. No, the Die Trying, the pop shit.
What about Somebody Love Me? Is that not up there?
I don't think it's. Why are you getting beat by? You're still battling Not Like Us. Not Like Us is number 2 record in the country.
And it's been out for like, what, 9 months at this point? Obviously, that record is a phenomenon, has been a phenomenon, and will go on as one of the most successful hip-hop songs of all time. The fact that he dropped 20-plus records and only one of them is barely cracking into the top 10 is very telling where his career is right now. He's not going to make...
And I've been saying this for a long time. You're not number one, bro. Look at what's going on. Not Like Us been out for almost a year. It'll be a year in 2 months, Not Like Us been out. And like that, it'll be a year in April, next month. And then Not Like Us, it'll be a year. And it's going to be celebrated. When that will come around, everybody's going to do, every streamer is going to do the celebration of that record, bro. If that record, it might go back to number one when it come out a year. So imagine if that record goes back to number one. After a year later, it goes back to number one. Like, I got a lot to say, man. Let's go.
Any meals anytime soon. He's obviously going to still be one of the more successful artists out there. But there has definitely been a major shift, and he's obviously having a huge identity crisis.
How did that... Before we get out of here, one last thing. I get that people are going to say, okay, these records are doing well because of the pre-hype, post-game, Super Bowl, blah, blah. We've never seen nothing like that. Isn't Drake's presence furthering the Kendrick reign of why these records are still dominant?
Yeah, well, he keeps bringing the beef up, directly and indirectly. The guy obviously is very bothered, no matter how many times he wants to tell us otherwise. And while it's too late to undo a lot of the damage he's done, if the guy would have just handled this graciously... People lose all the time. If you would have handled it with a little more class, yeah, people would have had their jokes, but I don't think the damage would have been anywhere as near if he would have took it that route.
He's fueling...
That's a fact, too. If he would have just took his loss and said, yo, Dot beat me, but we going to get back to the hits, and we going to see who win on the charts. It would have been just that. People would have probably just been cool with it. But now that I think about it, I don't know if that's even the case either. Because I think that a lot of Drake fans they're tired of him. Like you got some super fans that will never be tired. But you got some fans who are just like, bro, this dude is doing the same thing. They're just seeing him do the same thing. And I think once their mentality grow up and they realize that, man, I need more than this, then everything changes. So let's keep it going.
He's fueling TV off. He's fueling Not Like Us. He's running himself down to the ground and losing over and over again because of his actions. No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
And you think Nokia's gonna save the day? You can TikTok yourself to the end. It's not gonna save the day. It's not gonna change what the world is. It's not gonna.
You
There's
can't
nothing you can
slide
do.
out of this one.
You can't give enough hugs out. It's not happening. But hey, what do I know, man? I'm ready for a solo album dropping in October. Okay, great.
Birthday.
Jeremy Heck.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's obviously not a lot of excitement surrounding this stuff right now. You do have a minority of people. You do have the Drake stans that will forever try to spin any of these narratives into a positive, which I don't think is helping Drake at all because it's furthering his delusion. But the facts are the facts, and these numbers for him are almost an all-time low. You would think him being in possibly one of the biggest news stories in hip-hop, this beef would have also helped his sales because people would be interested in hearing what he has to say after all that. But he has breeded a lot of resentment and contempt amongst so many people that's going to be so difficult to ever erase any of it because people forgive, but they don't forget. If you're moving 100,000+ units in your first week, I honestly see that as a very huge success because a lot of these acts now are struggling to sell even 20,000 units. But for a guy that has always prided sales numbers, I'm the number one guy, I'm the Mike Jack of rap. Honestly, when you don't have that, what is your identity? When that's been your identity for like the last 15 years. And that's
I will say this. I do believe that if Drake drops a solo project, it's probably gonna do 300K. And the reason why I say that is because people still want to hear what he has to say about this beef. But if he waits until October to drop a solo album, people might still go after and listen. But if Kendrick was to do something else, this major after that, yeah, it's I just don't see that album being successful. And that's gonna be the telling part. Forget the Cardi album. Drake's solo album is gonna be whether his career is over or not. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I kinda believe that it is. But yeah, we're gonna end it there. Make sure y'all go subscribe to Yo EQ TV. All right, let's go. Yeah, man, I think at this point we gotta just admit that he is number 2, and there's nothing he can do about it. I think what Ellie Wilson said was correct. I think he was on point with that. Nokia is not going to save the day. You can't keep giving out hugs. None of this stuff is going to matter. Because truth be told, Kendrick is dominating. It's better for you to just step out the way. Don't try to compete with him right now because you can't. Just step out the way. Go work on something historic. Take a year off of music. Work on a historical rap album. You know what I'm saying? If I'm him, I would do a song called Kendrick Lamar, and I'll explain what happened through the whole beef. You know what I'm saying? Or a song called Kenny Drake or whatever. I'll just do something that will explain what happened between the two, because people need clarity. Some people would want clarity, but the arrogance is what's really holding him back, and that's the reason why he's in the position he's in, because he's narcissistic and he's arrogant. And he ain't never going to do nothing like that. He's always going to think that whatever he does is hot. Delusion will set in, and some people just can't get past it. So thank y'all for joining me. I appreciate y'all. See y'all. Peace. Bye.